Welcome to Cabinet, everybody. I'm going to start with obviously item 1, which is apologies for absence. So, according to my knowledge, we've got apologies from Councillor Brownridge and Vida Hussain. Is that right? Brilliant, thank you. Item 2 is urgent business. There are no items of urgent business. It's very quick. Right, I'll just try this. Yeah. Okay, so item 3 is declarations of interest. Does any member have any interest to declare in any matter on the agenda? No. Item 4 is public question time. There were no public questions received by the deadline. Thank you. Item 5, minutes of previous meeting. Does Cabinet agree to the minutes of the meeting held on the 15th of July 2024? Thank you. Item 6, Oldham Youth Justice Service Plan 24-25. Councillor Mushtaq.
Thanks. So
to convene a local youth justice partnership, provide a youth justice service, and to submit a youth justice action plan to the National Youth Justice Board. In Oldham, we have a very successful youth justice service. The youth justice service is commissioned to positive steps. It was judged good at its last inspection, and it continues to deliver low rates of reoffending, low rates of first-time entrance into the criminal justice system, and low rates of children in custody. The
priorities in 24-25 plan are to continue delivering those low rates, to address serious youth violence, to enhance work with victims of crime, and to reintegrate young people excluded from school back into their education settings. The plan is overseen by Oldham Youth Justice Partnership Board. The board is chaired by the DCS. As such, it forms part of Oldham's strategic vision for children and young people that received recognition in the recent Ofsted inspection of children's services. The recommendation, Chair, is there, and it's recommended that the Cabinet accepts the plan for 2024-25, notes the progress made against the plan from last year, and recommends it to the Council for formal approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mushtaq. Does any member wish to speak on that report? No? Do members agree with the recommendations as set out in the report? Thank you. Item 7, Revenue Monitor and Capital Investment Programme 24-25. Councillor Jabbar.
Thank you, Chair. So this is the first report of the financial year that we bring to you, which covers the Q1 of the financial year. We will be bringing regular report, Chair, to give you updates on revenue spend and capital spend. As you'll see from the report, that we've got a major in-year pressure, which we need to deal with. If I can summarize what's actually happening. So if you look at the overall position after Q1, then we're seeing a net pressure of 6.5 million. And I'll break those down because there is a reason for taking this a little bit of time to explain to you. If we don't do anything, this could actually translate by the end of the financial year to £26 million, which is unprecedented, and we have never been in this position before. So in terms of the actual overspend, firstly, in adult social care, we've got 1.4 million, and this is primarily due to demand and care packages cost increasing, specifically in respect of mental health and learning disability. Secondly, we've got 3.5 million in children's services. Again, the main problem has been the increase in placement cost, and there's been a significant increase in number of looked after children. So previously it was 595, it's now increased to 614. And finally, 1.2 million in respect of strategic housing, predominantly increase in temporary accommodation costs. So I think, Chair, we're not alone in actually seeing significant pressure in those areas. If you look at most of the GM authorities, they're facing similar pressures. I think this is happening because for a number of years, the previous government didn't give local authorities the right level of resources in areas where there were growing demands. And we're seeing the consequences of that. And I hope that the new government will actually look into this and give us the right resource. But we're not waiting for the new government to give us money to deal with that. We're actually taking very significant management action, including freezing all vacancies except the very vital post. We're actually frozen all spend apart from the essential ones. And then on top of that, the delivery board that you chair meets on a regular basis together with myself and other senior officers to monitor progress against the saving that we've factored in during this financial year. I think it's very important to understand the severity of the pressure that we're facing in this financial year. In respect of capital, Chair, the revised budget is just over 101 million, and at the end of quarter one, at the end of June, this spend was just under 12 million at 11.895 million. I'm happy to take any questions, and I'd invite the Chief Executive or the Director of Finance if they want to add anything to it. Thank you, Chair.
Does any member wish to speak on this? No? Any comments from anybody? No. So I just think it's really important to acknowledge, actually, you make some very valid points that we are trying and working really hard to mitigate the impact of, because these are national challenges. You know, we've had money taken out from us year after year after year after year. We've had the increase in demand and need, but not the money to go with it to help mitigate some of this. So it's really, really difficult circumstances, and to deal with the council budget in them circumstances is really hard. But actually what you've proved is that it is paying off as well. But the pressures on those services will continue no matter what we try to do up until we have a fairer funding formula. And I have to say that I'm delighted that we've actually got a new government now that is taking all this really seriously, that accepts the challenges local government has been facing for many, many years. And they're working with us to look at how we can get a fairer funding arrangement, because there's not a council in this country that can continue to work under these financial conditions. So you're right to say that Oldham's not alone in this, but we do need that support. And it's a huge relief, actually, that now we have people within those departments that are willing to not only have a conversation with us, but to understand and help us and support us in this. So thank you for everything that you've been doing, Councillor Jabbar, but also to Sarah Johnson, Chris and Lee and the rest of the team, and to you as well, Harry, because it's not been easy for any of us, has it? So thank you so much for that. Okay, so does Cabinet agree with the recommendations set out in the report? Thank you. Item 8, again, is you, Councillor Jabbar. It's local taxation and benefits, discretionary policies 24-25.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So this report is a result of an annual review undertaken by Revenues and Benefits section to ensure that its discretionary decision-making policies are relevant and up-to-date. So before you, we've got 5 policies that's been reviewed. Firstly, discretionary council tax policy. Then you got discretionary relief policy, empty property premium policy, local welfare provision policy, discretionary housing payment policy. Basically, we're just making minor changes and bringing it up to date in line with best practice and legislation, with the only exception is on the discretionary council tax discount policy. What we're doing is we're proposing to give people exceptional hardship payment, not just in year, but also for previous arrears. At the moment, the policies that we give that exception hardship payment for in year, we're making a change to cover arrears too. So with that change, Chair, I'd like to recommend that you approve these policies.
Thank you, Councillor Jabbar. Does any member wish to speak? No? Okay, does Cabinet agree with the recommendations set out in the report? Thank you. Item 9, again, Councillor Jabbar, over to you for debt recovery policies.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Again, 2 policies here, Chair. Firstly, the corporate debt policy. Again, what we're doing is we're refreshing it, and then we've brought a new policy for you to approve, which is the debt recovery policy for adult social care. Essentially what we're doing is creating a framework for officers to work in a fair, transparent way and a consistent way, but also to make sure that the public, if they happen to be receiving any recovery action, that they can call on some kind of policy to say how we deal with their debts. So it's good policy that we need to do that. I think with the adult social care policy, Chair, this was extensively discussed with Jane and her team together with Councillor Barbara Brownage, and they've agreed to this. We've got to be a little bit careful about the client group that we're dealing with. Clearly there's some people who are vulnerable, and we've taken that in mind, and we looked at, again, different policies that operate in that area. What we're trying to do collectively, Chair, is that we want to create a unit within the council that deals with all debt, and hopefully through that we can resource it properly, and that way that we can maximise our collection, and hopefully that will give us additional resources. So I'm asking you to approve, Cabinet, to approve this, but this has been well consulted and is following obviously the appropriate legislation, but also good practice too.
Thank you, Councillor Jabbar. Does any member wish to speak? No? Do members agree with the recommendations as set out in the report? Thank you. So item 10 is the future of mental health social work. So Councillor Brownridge isn't here, so I'll take it in her absence. So this paper outlines a change to the way we manage mental health social work, ensuring that the greatest level of scrutiny and accountability for the council while maintaining our current positive partnership working with Pennine Care. Does any member wish to speak on that report? No? Okay, does Cabinet agree with the recommendations as set out in the report? Thank you. So item 11 is laptop hardware refresh. Councillor Jabbar.
Thank you, Chair. So this report is about replacing the current Lenovo laptops that we've got. They're roughly 4 to 6 years old, and we need to replace them. The Windows 10 support is actually ending quite soon as well, October 2025. And we want to move to the Microsoft laptops, which is actually more compatible. And we obviously use quite a lot of software, as you'll see from the next report. And what we want to do is not replace laptops on an ad hoc basis. It makes sense to buy them in bulk and then actually phase it out in terms of the replacement. So this has gone through quite a lot of consultation, and we believe this is the right and the most cost-effective way of purchasing our next generation of laptops. So that's why we're recommending that you approve this report. There's a closed part as well for this report, which deals with the financing of the devices.
Thank you, Councillor Jabbar. Does any member wish to speak? No? Okay, so we're going to consider the recommendations to this report at item 16. Okay, so item 12, Councillor Jabbar, again, is Microsoft License Enterprise Agreement.
Yeah, so basically, Chair, we have a current agreement, 3-year agreement, that's coming to an end. And basically what we want to do is renew the contract, the enterprise agreement with Microsoft for another 3 years. Because we extensively use Microsoft products here. And as I've said previously, we're now looking to buy Microsoft laptops as well, and it makes sense to do that. And it's absolutely necessary for us to function that we need to renew the license agreement. So that's the recommendation of the report.
Thanks, Councillor Jabbar. Again, we'll be considering the recommendations of this report at item 17. Item 13 then is Project Skyline Partnership Agreement. Over to you, Councillor Mushtaq.
Thank you, Chair. The Project Skyline is a Greater Manchester Combined Authority project to increase the number of children's homes in Greater Manchester to enhance the availability of placements for looked after children. The project is a regional response to the national issue of a lack of supply of placements for looked after children. The project will deliver 10 new homes to accommodate 24 children with complex mental health issues. Procurement of these homes started in May and is due to conclude by November. This is an important project as it shows that the 10 Greater Manchester local authorities can and will cooperate regionally to resolve national problems as they arrive in Greater Manchester. However, the work is complex, and as such, the 10 local authorities need to enter into a partnership agreement that will detail governance and decision-making, financial liabilities, the role of Greater Manchester Combined Authority in procurement, and contract management arrangements. So the ask of Cabinet is to approve for the Council to enter into such a partnership agreement and delegate to Chief Exec and or the DCS in consultation with myself and the legal team. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Mushtaq. Does any member wish to speak? No? Okay, so we're going to consider the recommendations of that report at item 18. The next item is item 14. It's replacement of Oldham's cremators. Councillor Goodwin.
Thank you, Chair. As the report says, this is about the replacement of 3 cremators at our Hollingwood site. The reason it's necessary is because we have forthcoming legislation which will pose legal challenges to the use of these cremators, but also with the fact that they're over 30 years old, there are actually no spare parts made for these cremators, so that if there was a problem with any of them, we wouldn't be able to repair it. There's about 25% of local authorities are going to have to replace theirs, and there's only 3 manufacturers in the UK. So we really need to act soon to get this procurement in place so that we can make sure that we can continue to offer this service in Oldham. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Goodwin. So we're going to consider the recommendations of that report at item 19. Item 15 is exclusion of the press and public.
Moved.
Thank you. Thank you.